What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a deck profile for you guys. Now I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking if I usually have a follow-up video from a pay-per-view last night or anything like that. Normally that would be the case, but considering the fact that the pay-per-view payback last night was a rather, I guess, a last minute type of deal, there was really nothing at all to talk about, so I'm not even gonna worry about that. But yeah. So for this week, and I think for next week, I think the schedule will be changed a little bit. So normally I would have a video ready on Wednesdays, but because that NXT has moved to Tuesday because of that big Fatal 4-Way Iron Man match that we have for the vacant NXT title between Ciampa, Gargano, Finn Balor, and Adam Cole, I'm actually gonna be doing a video for tomorrow, which will be Tuesday, and I think this is gonna be happening over the next couple weeks for this week, and I think for next week. I think because of I think it might be it may have something to do with AEW. I wouldn't know because I don't watch AEW. But yeah, so that's pretty much what's going down. But today's deck profile, if you guys have not checked, if you guys haven't figured it out by the title of the video, yes, it is a Malefic deck. Crazy enough, I decided to build Malefics. This is a deck that I've been working on for quite a while now. I think for the last couple months. Never really got the chance to figure it out, but I finally got it figured out. I'll show off the deck here. And yes, this is off of YuGiOh Nexus. So I'm not so sure if my camera did justice to show off the deck, but yeah. So without any further ado. So this is a 45 build, and what's cool about this is that with this deck, with this variant, if you will, you're pretty much guaranteed to see either Malefic Territory or Malefic World. One or the other. You're pretty much guaranteed to see them, depending on how you see it, basically. So this is a pretty cool deck. I wouldn't say this would be perfect for Worlds or Regionals or Nationals. I would say this would be perfect for Locals and maybe YCS. It's pretty consistent. The strange thing about this though is that you're not using your extra deck all that much. But if you were ever to go into your extra deck, you will most likely just go into one of your synchros and possibly two of your XCs at the most. So without any further ado, let's get into the deck profile. So obviously, first off, this deck does run normal monsters, and the only normal monster in the deck is Blue Eyes White Dragon. 2 copies of it actually, and obviously you have to have it for Malefic Blue Eyes White Dragon, because if you guys don't know, with these Malefic, I cannot speak. With these Malefic versions of Blue Eyes, Rainbow Dragon, and whatnot, you have to banish that particular card, monster, from your deck. You have to banish it from your hand or your deck, depending on where it's at, and then you special summon the Malefic version of it to your field. So obviously you have to have two Blue Eyes White Dragons. It's an excellent it's an excellent target for trade-in, and also a really good target for for the level 10 synchros. An excellent rank 8 target as well. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty good card. And then of course I'm also running 1 copy of Malefic Truth Dragon. I'm only running 1 copy in this deck because when you summon it, and I'll read off its effect. Its effect says, cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned by its own effect. So by that alone, if and cannot be special summoned by other ways. If a Malefic monster you control, except Malefic Truth Dragon, is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can pay half your life points, special summon this card from your hand or grave, and there can only be one Malefic monster on the field. If there is no face-up field spell on the field, destroy the card. And basically, if this card and it says if this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls. So this is a really excellent way. This is a really good like Malefic version of Nibiru, so to speak. And one of the biggest downsides to this card is the fact that you're literally paying half your life points, which is something that you don't want. To do. That's why a lot of people don't run this card all that often. But I chose to run this card because it's an excellent way to pretty much just break your opponent's board like that. Easy. And the only way the only way it can resolve is if your opponent doesn't have any cards in hand. So for instance, if your opponent does run cards like Ogre or even also Impermanence, if they don't have any of those two cards in their hand, then the effect of Truth Dragon could potentially resolve, which is something that you want to see happen. But of course, too, it can be negated with cards like Appaloosa or something like that. But if they don't run those like high end meta cards, then Truth Dragon is just gonna resolve easily. And then of course I'm also running one copy of probably one of the craziest cards you could ever think of, and that is Malefic Paradigm Dragon. Its effect is actually interesting because you cannot normal summon or set this monster. It has to be special summoned from your hand by banishing a Malefic monster in your extra deck, and the only Malefic monster that is in the extra deck is Paradox Dragon. And then if you don't have Malefic World on the field when this card is summoned, this card gets easily destroyed. And then as a once per turn effect, you can send a Malefic card from your deck to the grave and return one of your banished level 8 synchros to the extra deck. And by that time, and then by that time you can special summon that monster from the extra deck. So when you send Stardust Dragon from your banished pile back into your extra deck, it automatically gets summoned. So you don't really. So it's basically you're basically ignoring its summoning conditions. And with this card, you can only attack with Malefic monsters for the rest of the turn. You activate that effect. Is it a good effect? Absolutely, because you're able to. Because if you have. Because if you have like say Malefic Blue Eyes on the field and Stardust Dragon, you can easily you can easily overlay them and go into a rank 8 play, which could be literally anything. It can be number 38. It could be Dingirsu, which actually in the extra deck I am running those two cards, and I'll showcase you guys why later on in the video. But this card pretty much just ensures that you're able to get a synchro monster on the field, and you can, I guess rather, basically recycles your cards, which is really good. And then of course I'm also running, and then for the other Malefics, I am running 3 copies of Malefic Cyber End Dragon. The big reason why I'm running 3 copies of Cyber End Dragon, well, Malefic Cyber End Dragon, is because of the rank 10 plays that you can make. It's because of the rank 10s that you can make with this card, and also with Rainbow Dragon as well. You can make Gustav Max and go into Juggernaut Liebe, I think is his name, or you can also go into Dark Infinity, which I am running in the extra deck as well. So the possibilities are literally endless. And then of course again 2 copies of Malefic Rainbow Dragon and only 1 copy of Rainbow Dragon. The reason why is because of the fact that I'm running a spell that recycles your monsters from your banish pile back into your deck. Basically, which I'll showcase to you guys what that card is later on in this video. And then, of course, again, I spoke about it earlier. 2 copies of Malefic Blue Eyes. They are also excellent trade-in targets as well, so you're able to get a +2 off of Blue Eyes, or even a Malefic Blue Eyes for that matter. And then triple copies of Malefic Stardust Dragon. I know my brother is going to watch this, and he's going to think, why? Why? Because he actually runs Stardust Dragon in his Cyber Dragon deck, so yeah. But anyway, but anyway, 3 copies of Malefic Stardust because again, it is an excellent rank 8 target. It's an excellent link target, synchro target, and it's also a trade-in target as well, which trade-in is in this deck. It's an excellent target for pretty much anything. And then for pretty much just to ensure that your opponent's combos don't go through, I'm also running 2 copies of Ash Blossom. Nothing really too crazy. I know that some people will prefer to play something like Ogre or something like that, but if your opponent runs draw cards, then you have to have, if they run draw cards or cards that special summons, was it, I think from the deck? Yeah, so basically, so Ash Blossom is just perfect for pretty much any deck that adds cards from the deck to the hand, special summons from the deck, or sending cards from the deck to the graveyard. This card just pretty much stops those decks in their tracks. And then to round off the monsters, I'm running 3 copies of Malefic Parallel Gear and 2 Paradox Gear. Obviously, Paradox Gear is an excellent way to get out Parallel Gear, but you don't want that. You want to use honestly, you don't want to summon Paradox. You don't want to summon Parallel Gear off of the effects of Paradox Gear. You want to see. You honestly want to see. Actually, you know what? Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, sorry guys, my mind's been off today. Again, so Paradox Gear, you want to use it to summon out Parallel Gear from your deck, and if you have something like a Malefic Blue Eyes, or even if you have Blue Eyes, in your hand, you can tune them together and summon something like Dragocytos, or pretty much any level 10 synchro monster, which is absolutely really busted. And that's pretty much it for all the monsters. There's really nothing too crazy about that. For the spells, though, we have 2 copies of Malefic Selector. This is a really cool card because you get to banish 2 Malefic cards from your grave, and you get to add 2 Malefic cards from your deck to your hand. So it's basically it's a -2 +2, so to speak. So it's like it's a double version, if you will, of 1-for-1, basically. So it's really cool that, that you're able to banish your Malefic cards to get more Malefic cards to your hand. So that's pretty cool. And then of course trade-in, it's a +2. It's a -1 +2. Really excellent card. Easy way to get into your combo pieces, which is really cool. And then also probably a card that I am questioning, honestly, but I'm running 2 copies of the Melody of Awakening Dragon. You guys are probably wondering, why is that? Well, its effect says discard 1 card, add up to 2 dragons with 3,000 or more attack and 2,500 or less defense from your deck to your hand. So essentially you can add Malefic. So essentially, you basically want to add Malefic Blue Eyes and Malefic Stardust to your hand. Mind blowing. And then of course, double copies of Machine Duplication. Again, Paradox Gear, Parallel Gear, synchro summons for days. And then for the draw card that I mentioned, Pot of Acquisitiveness. Probably one of the most underlooked cards I would say in the game. But if you guys don't know what that card does, basically it says target 3 banished monsters, shuffle all 3 into the deck, and draw 1 card. You can only activate 1 per turn. So it's a what's the term called? It's recycle 3 plus 1. So you want to play face down, and then during their turn, during their main phase, you can go ahead and just play it. Take your Malefic cards, put them back into the deck or the extra deck, draw one, and you could potentially get one of your combo pieces for next game. So it's a really excellent draw card. And then of course Malefic Divide, which is basically a Monster Reborn for the Malefics. But sadly though, the downside to it is that the card in question gets banished during the end phase. So it is a quick play. So if your opponent was to attack you, attempt to attack you for game, you can activate Malefic Divide, special summon Cyber End Dragon from your graveyard, and then you could just potentially, but you could literally you can literally save your life points, which is absolutely nuts. It's a really awesome card. Again, some people will say that it's better to play this at 3. I disagree with that, because if you play at 3, it's essentially going to be a clog in the hand, in my personal opinion. And then to round off the spells, we have triple copies of Malefic Territory, which is essentially the terraforming for Malefic World, which I am running 3 copies of. So that's pretty much it for the spells. For the trap cards, there's only 5. I am running 2 copies of Malefic Tune. So if one of your Malefics that was on the field is destroyed by battle or a card effect, you can draw 2 cards, and also its other effect says if a face of Malefic monster you control is destroyed while this card is in your graveyard, except during the damage step, you can banish the card from your grave and a Malefic monster from your deck to your hand. So you can only use each once per turn. So it's essentially a Pot of Greed. It's essentially a Pot of Greed Rhoda, so to speak. Or actually not Rhoda, Stratos. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. It's basically a Pot of Greed Stratos, so to speak. So that's really cool. And then of course Malefic Claw Stream. Two copies of Claw Stream. Basically, it's a trap hole, so to speak, for Malefics. And the last card in the deck, Skill Drain. The 1 copy of Skill Drain. Obviously, Skill Drain isn't yet at 1. You want to try and just prevent your opponent from activating card effects as much as possible, and Skill Drain is the best way to go. That is the best way to go. And now for the extra deck. Obviously, because that we have Malefic Cyber End Dragon in the main deck, I am actually running 2 copies of Cyber End Dragon in the extra deck. So nothing really too crazy there. Then of course 2 copies of Malefic Paradox Dragon. Obviously you want to use one to summon Malefic Paradigm Dragon, and then use the other one to normal synchro summon basically. So it's pretty cool. Paradox Dragon is just nothing too crazy. It's basically a monster reborn for synchro monsters. So you can either summon it. So if you or your opponent has a synchro monster in the graveyard, you can target that one synchro monster and summon it to your side of the field, and that's pretty much it. And then you could potentially, like, if the opponent's synchro monster was a level 8, you can go into a rank 8 play, or you can even also use it as a link material for something like Appaloosa or even Borrelsword for that matter. Then of course I am running 2 copies of Dragocytos Corrupted Nether Soul Dragon, probably one of the weirdest cards you could play. But of course too, the Malefic archetype is a dark attribute deck, so obviously it fits the bill perfectly. And then obviously too, this card can make a second attack during your battle phase, and its attack points, and one of your opponent's monsters' attack points gets cut in half, and if that effect does resolve, they lose life points equal to how many attack points that monster lost. So obviously if one of your opponent's monsters has, like, I'll say 5,000 points, they would lose 2,500, which is really good. And then to round off the synchros, 2 copies of Stardust Dragon, which obviously you have to have that, and also another weird card. It's weird, but it actually works. It is Time Lord, Progenitor, Nitor, Vorgate. Yeah. So to summarize what it does, it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects. You take no damage from attacks involving this card, and it also says at the end of the damage step, if this card if this card that was special summoned from the extra deck battled, you can activate this effect, which basically you banish all of your opponent's all monsters your opponent controls. So essentially, it's another Nibiru, and the battle damage your opponent takes is cut in half. Which honestly that really doesn't matter, because you want to maximize how obviously you want to maximize breaking your opponent's board and just essentially attacking for game. And then once per turn during the end phase, if this effect was activated, if the effect was activated during that turn, you can special summon as many monsters as possible that you banish with this card's effect to your opponent's field. Which again, you want to try and maximize in breaking boards and essentially just attacking for game. So yeah, and then again, 2 Stardust Dragons for the Xyz monsters. We have Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Juggernaut, Utopic Dark Affinity, Gustav Max, again, obviously dealing damage at the end of your turn. During your main phase 2, essentially winning. Essentially dealing damage for game. And then of course, number 38, an easy disruption. And then of course, Dingirsu, literally one of the best cards in the Orcus format, which was like a little over I would say like a year and a half ago. So it's a pretty cool card. Nothing really too crazy with those Xyz monsters. They're pretty self-explanatory. And then of course, the only Link monster that is in the extra deck is Boral Sword Dragon, which I don't even need to say anything about Boral Sword Dragon. So yeah. And then of course the side deck, it's a little weird, but I might switch it up a bit. But I want you guys to comment below what you guys think I should do with the side deck, what I should take out, what I should put in. Let me know in the comments below. But the side deck consists of 2 copies of Nibiru, a 3rd Ash Blossom, a fusion monster known as Phantasm Emperor Trilogig, double copies of Allure of Darkness, which is a really good pot of greed, Monster Reborn, Dimension Fusion Destruction to summon Trilogig, double copies of Call by the Grave, triple Impermanence, and then of course 2 different Anubis cards. We have Curse of Anubis and Judgment of Anubis. So that's pretty much it for this Malefic deck profile. There's really nothing too crazy about this deck. Again, it's perfect for locals, maybe YCS. I highly doubt that it'll work going into like nationals or regionals or whatever. Worlds, I highly doubt it. You'll probably get eliminated in the first round. Literally, you probably would. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I will definitely post the deck on my Instagram, so make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. My link is down below. Follow me there. And that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash the thumbs up button. If you guys are new to this channel and you guys love seeing these types of deck profiles and whatnot, my news videos and whatever, and you guys want to see more, definitely hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you guys do not miss out on any new content that comes your way. And again, be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Both my Twitters and my one Instagram. All 3 of my links are down in the description below. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.